Adit Kothari, foreign affairs and geopolitical expert with us, joining us live from London, told us just a moment ago. And my very esteemed panelists with me on the broadcast, also Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, former Indian diplomat, and General Singh, who's a military and strategy expert. Ambassador, quickly, one more round of discussions and discourse on this particular deal. Donald Trump says that progress is real, but he has warned against pushing too hard on this deal. A great negotiator, that's what Pete Hegseth calls him. And is the White House itself divided on this particular front? And whilst I'm asking you this, give us a sense of whether, if the sanctions are partially lifted, let's say, without deeper nuclear guarantees, could the United States back at home, like you pointed out yourself in the opening submissions, midterms are right around the corner, could the US face accusations of giving Iran strategic breathing room as well, even as we're saying that Tehran's moves are also calculated at the same time? Ma'am.
My position, Kabir, is that as long as gasoline prices come down in United States due to the reopening of Straits of Hormuz, that will give Trump enough breathing space before the midterms. The White House is, of course, divided because his own vice president was not in favor of this misadventure.
Yeah.
And others, including Tulsi, etc.
Neither was the CIA, ma'am. The CIA, the vice president. I mean, Netanyahu sitting inside the Situation Room, that's unheard of. I mean, it's as good as Xi Jinping being invited again in that Situation Room. Donald Trump, he's changing the cards. My apologies for interjecting. I just had to, put that on record. Donald Trump, he's changed the way how the White House works in the first place.
Well, hopefully, Kabir, it won't be for too long. Let's hope. But as long as he's in the White House, he understands, being basically a businessman and a real estate guy, that there has to be a breather. The Straits of Hormuz have to open. The price of oil has to come down. He has played the markets enough for his friends and family to make fortunes out of these fluctuating oil prices and so on. But now it's time for the deal. You raised a very important issue, and one of my co-panelists, as to where is Iran going to find the revenue to rebuild. Therefore, I suspect that in stage 2, some of Iran's frozen assets will be unfrozen, so that they are compensated for not charging money on tankers going through the Straits of Hormuz. Thirdly, the Abraham Accord issue is deeply linked. It is intended to keep Israel on board. That's why he said it, because the Israelis trapped Trump into this war. The Israelis pushed an American president into a military misadventure. Now that American president wants to get out, and the pound of flesh being demanded by Israel is that states in that area respect Abraham Accord. It's just all verbiage. Those who want to recognize it will recognize it. Those who will not, and that includes his favorite field marshal, Pakistan. They are not going to accept the Abraham Accord. There are very high stakes for them, in any case. So that just shows, as you pointed out, Kabir, the kind of actual hold that Netanyahu has on Trump on this matter and on this military misadventure. But I would stick my neck out and say, I think there will be an extended ceasefire. I think the Straits of Hormuz will open. When that happens, then stage 2 will come, which would be, as I said, the whole issue of unfreezing the assets, the whole issue, as General Saab pointed out, about the danger of all that enriched uranium there so that Iran can build dirty bombs. There will have to be a procedure in that case, Kabir, by which Iran does not surrender it to Trump. Iran would have to surrender it to the IAEA.
Yep.
That is a process. There is a process in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which Iran is a signatory to. I suspect that if Trump would allow IAEA to get involved, that enriched uranium could be taken out without loss of face on either side, Iran or United States. Kabir.
All right. Many thanks, ma'am. General Singh, about the unfreezing of the assets, and just like the ambassador was talking about, if the nuclear issues are deferred to this later phase, like Madam Ambassador just told us, that it is going to, the extended ceasefire will happen, there will be a phased out deal. Does that actually make the deal and the negotiations easier, or is it simply going to postpone one of the biggest conflicts? And even if this framework deal really emerges out, how difficult would it be, again throwing light on the Strait of Hormuz, how difficult would it be to militarily and operationally fully restore confidence in the shipping and the maritime lanes through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, firstly, all of it which is happening and what you have addressed, Kabir, it is basically the strategic face saving, as I said earlier. It primarily is boiling down to that. You see, back home, whatever we have discussed about the Trump issue, there is also the hardliners in the Republicans, the MAGA, and that he has to face. There is also that Congress. Congress, his majority is surely closing in the gap. And so that is where this election optics of the American in November is the primary concern of Trump. And here he would like to find that this deal comes through. And definitely, one point about the enriched uranium, I do not think, in my perception, that Iran would agree to hand it over to IAEA, because IAEA in the real terms has not been fair.
They said it before, General, that they don't want any involvement from the International Nuclear Watchdog. They've said it before. I'm unsure whether that's really going to happen, but Ambassador says that's important if the handover and the transition of this uranium has to take place.
The Russian part of it, I think, is a very fair deal, because in 2015, if it was accepted, it should be accepted.
But then again, General, you see, Donald Trump says that he does not want to repeat the Obama mistakes, quote unquote.
So, well, I think then they have to see what they can come through in these 60 days, because enriched uranium, Iranians lose their Trump card, and that they will not surrender to Trump. I would put it this way. Because Iran also is showing strategic defiance internationally, and they're managing the economic fatigue internally. And they're doing it pretty well, because the resilience has come out loud and clear. And this Iran today is being managed by primarily the IRGC. And who are this IRGC hardcore which you are saying? 1979 Iranian Revolution. These people today are the leaders. They were the youth at that time. 47 years back, today they are in 60s and early 70s. They are managing this. That is why the resilience has been so strongly addressed by Iran, and their leadership has not been compromised. The clergy has rightly stepped behind right now to manage the wartime effort which the country is putting in. So all this is a fog for us. You see, I would say there are three fogs which are being there. The military fog, neither side has fully revealed what has happened. We do not know the actual damages. We do not know what has been the missile interceptions which have taken place, the success rates, the stockpile depletions of these countries. We do not know the cyber losses. So the operational vulnerabilities in real terms is really not known to us. Now also is the political fog. How is US balancing it? Through Israel, it is through the Israeli security concerns. And Netanyahu has had a card in this. He is holding the card, and I would say the dagger.
The real Trump card is with Netanyahu, sir. The real Trump card is with Netanyahu.
Yes, I'm saying he's got the dagger in hand. I'm saying that. And Trump wants to avoid another extended Middle East war. And I have covered the election optics for that.
Yeah.
So it is, what is really coming now is that both sides have to manage the international environment. They have to manage their domestic audiences, allies and adversaries, the markets. Iran also doesn't want to be seen to be affecting the world markets and the oil. So that's why they are also showing malleability now. They're ready to open the straits from their side. And of course, that we covered that has covered that service charges versus a toll tax. I think that part of it can be managed. So personally, what is more important which is coming? Trump going to China. There also they have covered the Hormuz Strait that it should be open. So China is a big card rather than Pakistan. And I think that back channel talks would still be on with China to have this controlled de-escalation coming into effect. At the same time, neither Trump nor the Iranian leadership wants to be seen that they are weak in any kind or they are succumbing.
Absolutely.
So this is where the stakes are very high for Trump.
Okay. There's another caveat to this. We just learnt about it about 2 hours ago. Adit, take a look at this. Iran has demanded access to $12 billion US assets frozen in Qatar as a precondition for advancing these talks. Now, Iran appears to be softening language without really surrendering leverage. Is Tehran negotiating from a weakness? Is this calculated resilience? I think it was Ambassador Mukherjee who said right in the beginning, if Iran lets nuclear or this enriched nuclear, uranium go outside Iran, there's going to be mob lynching right there out on the streets.
Absolutely. I don't think they're going to be getting rid of their enriched uranium without any concessions, any sort of strategic leverages shown by the United States, which is why this is a precursor. So they want the Americans to show good faith, because every time they have sat down on the table, they have actually been stabbed on the back by the Americans. We remember how the foreign minister of Oman was on record to say that talks were proceeding really well, and we thought we were getting somewhere, and then February 28th happens.
Yep.
So we know for a fact that the Iranians have been stabbed on the back, which is why they want the Americans to demonstrate a little bit of a gesture of goodwill by releasing these funds, which will give a bit of economic comfortness to Iran. Remember that Iran is going through extreme economic inflation at this point. Even pre-war, their economic inflation internally was almost about 40%. Now that's gone up to almost about anywhere between 150 to 300%, depending on what commodities you're looking at. I mean, rice is at about 300% inflation in Iran. Meat is at about 180 to about 200%. So they want those sort of economic cushioning so that they can actually go back to their public and say, this is what we secured from the Americans, and slowly, they can get back onto the table by negotiating. So these are those negotiation tactics, straight out of the book that actually Donald Trump had written, The Art of the Deal. So in effect, the Iranians are playing Donald Trump's tactic. Is
there any art
Trump.
on display over here, really? I mean, General Singh spoke about, the face saving. Is there any opportunity for any face saving as well? Because Ambassador Mukherjee rightly pointed out that Donald Trump has blinked more than once, more than twice. He's blinked a couple of times over here. And right now, Washington and Tehran are both speaking the language of diplomacy, but still thinking in the logic of leverage. Many thanks, Ambassador. Many thanks, General Singh. Adit, always a pleasure to have you with us. And we're asking this because until the questions of the uranium, the sanctions and Hormuz, the main sticking points are truly resolved, this may remain less a peace deal and more a carefully managed pause in conflict. But hey, then again, developments by the hour. Let's hope that good sense prevails. We're going to slip into a quick commercial breather here. Our second segment and that debate on the political circles and, the Gymkhana divide. That's coming right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
First Battle of Panipat, 1914. Madhubani, carbon dioxide, Tropic of Cancer, Kyoto Protocol.
Which city is the textile and diamond capital of India?
Surat.
Help me prep for my UPSC exam with quizzes.
Snow leopard, inertia.
It's not just about access. It's about health, dignity, and equality. From classrooms to workplaces, why do periods still limit millions of girls? A special menstrual hygiene day telethon. Join the national conversation May 28th. The Sheconomy Agenda Period Power. Only on News9.
Welcome to this edition of the AI Report.
Not accepted.
But that's our prime question, because for over a century, the Delhi Gymkhana Club has been one of the most exclusive addresses in India. Bureaucrats, generals, diplomats, and politicians have walked through its doors. Its waiting list runs to 40 long years, and it sits on 27.3 acres of some of the most valuable land in the country, right in the heart of Lutyens Delhi, a stone's throw from the Prime Minister's residence. And recently, the government told it to pack up and leave by the 5th of June, that's just next month. The order came from the Land and Development Office under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. It invokes Clause 4 of the original lease deed signed back in 1928, when the land was allotted to what was then called the Imperial Delhi Gymkhana Club. That clause gives the government the right to re-enter and reclaim the land if it is needed for a public purpose. The government says the site is critically required for strengthening defense infrastructure and public security. It points to the fact that the club sits in one of the most sensitive zones in the national capital, close to the Prime Minister's residence and surrounded by key defense and government installations. Once the lease is terminated, the entire 27.3 acres vests absolutely with the President of India through the L&DO. And the government has made it clear that this is also linked to wider redevelopment plans for Central Delhi. The club has been on this land for nearly 100 years. It has been given less than 2 weeks to vacate. And the club is not going quietly either. Within days of receiving the eviction order, it moved to Delhi High Court. Senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi appeared for the club, and the court has agreed to hear the matter on the 26th of May. The club's argument is straightforward. A perpetual lease, it says, cannot be terminated through a government notice and police-assisted eviction. Any right of re-entry, it argues, must go through proper civil proceedings, not executive force. And it is called the order arbitrary and an instance of forced eviction. The human stakes are also significant because around 14,000 members use the club. Between 500 and 600 employees work there, many of whom depend on the institution entirely for their livelihood. The club says an abrupt eviction would throw all of that into chaos overnight. It is also worth noting that the club is currently being run by a government-appointed transitional committee put in place after the National Company Law Tribunal intervened in 2022 over mismanagement. The club says under that committee, its finances have improved and its administration has stabilized. The club has told the government that if you want us out, at least give us alternative land. And so far, there has been no response to that particular request. And here is where the story gets even more interesting, because this is not a struggling institution. The club's estimated net worth stands at close to 129 crore rupees. It has mutual fund investments worth over 217 crore rupees. More than 24 crore rupees is parked in fixed deposits. Its food, the bar, the banquet operations generate nearly 43 crore rupees annually, and its annual operational surplus has jumped to 9.5 crore rupees. This is financially healthy, well-run institution sitting on land for which it pays the government a lease rent of just 1,000 rupees a year. 1,000 rupees for 27.3 acres in the middle of Lutyens Delhi, where a single acre commands hundreds of crores on the open market. That number alone explains a great deal about why the government has really moved.
दिल्ली जिमखाना क्लब से कुछ ईगो टसल है, कुछ है केंद्र सरकार के अंदर। इन्होंने कुछ लोगों की मेंबरशिप मांगी होगी, या इन्होंने क्लब के ऊपर कब्जा मांगा होगा, या अपने लोगों को बिठाने की कोशिश की होगी। वो नहीं हुआ होगा तो झगड़ा बढ़ गया होगा, वरना मुझे नहीं लगता था सरकार इस तरीके के कदम जनरली उठाती है। प्रधानमंत्री आवास के पीछे रेस कोर्स है, वहां पे करीब 2,500 लोगों के मकान जो आज़ादी से पहले के बने हुए थे, उनको ध्वस्त किया जा रहा है, उनको वहां से भगाया जा रहा है।
आफ्टर कलकत्ता साउथ क्लब ये लॉन्स उससे भी बेटर थे। सो मैं 14 साल की उम्र से अमृतसर से आती थी खेलने। सो मेरी मेमोरीज 14 साल से जुड़ी हुई है जिमखाना क्लब से। इसलिए मुझे एक परेशानी हुई कि अब क्लब बंद हो जाएगी क्या। तो और उस 14 साल की उम्र में मैंने बहुत सारे टेनिस मैचेस वहां देखे, डेविस कप में मैचेस देखे, नेशनल चैंपियंस को विजय अमृतराज, रामानाथन कृष्णन, जयदीप मुखर्जी, प्रेमजीत लाल और सब प्लेयर्स आते थे। बड़ा जबरदस्त स्टैंड लगता था और नेशनल चैंपियनशिप्स यहाँ होती थी। तो इसलिए मुझे वो बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग मेमोरीज हैं
इन्होंने एक भी स्पोर्ट्स कॉम्प्लेक्स बनाया डीडी के अंदर पिछले 15 साल में, जो इस जैसी सुविधाएं देता है, जिमखाना जैसी सुविधाएं देता है? बनाइए ना, किसने मना किया? आप और बनाइए। और आपने वहां भी सब प्राइवेट सेक्टर को दे दिया। क्लब का मतलब होता है हम अपनी ओनरशिप से करते हैं। तो ये तो एक इनके अंदर की एक कुंठा है सरकार की, पता नहीं कौन सी भावना है। क्योंकि वहां डिफेंस का क्या है मुझे तो नहीं समझ में आता। क्या है डिफेंस का? वहां तो सामने अशोका होटल भी है, उसको भी हटा दो। आसपास मंत्रियों के, सांसदों के घर हैं, उनको भी हटा दो। कितनी और चीजें हैं वहां प्राइवेट की, उनमें नहीं है क्या? और प्रधानमंत्री का निवास तो ऐसे भी हट रहा है। हमसे ये कहा जा रहा, पता नहीं कौन सी अट्टालिकाएं बन रखी हैं, मतलब मुगल साम्राज्य के लोग क्या रहा करते थे जो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री रहेंगे। तो जब हट ही रहे प्रधानमंत्री, तो वहां कौन सी डिफेंस की दिक्कत हो गई है, मुझे तो समझ में नहीं आता।
And what is happening to Delhi Gymkhana may not stop at Delhi Gymkhana. Elite colonial-era clubs across India are watching this case very closely. Many of them sit on prime government land in the heart of major cities, operating under old lease arrangements that made sense in another era but look very different today. The big questions that we're trying to underscore: is national security the real reason behind this eviction, or is the government targeting prime land occupied by elite clubs? Should colonial-era clubs like Delhi Gymkhana continue to enjoy prime public land at low rates? And much more. Mr. L.N. Rao, former DCP, Delhi, joins us on the broadcast. Lieutenant General Rajinder Singh, former DG Infantry and a member of the Gymkhana Club, also soon going to be with us. But Mr. Rao, you see, you've been a top cop of the national capital. What's your assessment and reading here? I'm sure you've visited this on probably, maybe your own personal accord, maybe on a government event. The government says that this very land that is under question sits on one of the most sensitive strategic zones in the national capital, adjacent to the Prime Minister's residence and key defense infrastructure. In today's security environment, what's your assessment? Can a high footfall private social club realistically continue operating there indefinitely? Lieutenant General Rajinder Singh also with us on the broadcast. But Mr. Rao, your assessment first.
Good evening, Kabir. I have no doubt I have visited so many times. It's a very good and prime location in Delhi.
Yeah.
And this type of prestigious club is most prestigious club, I can say, all over India. But and you also said that it is established more than 100 years.
Yeah.
But as the government's consideration is about the security concern, that if that security concern is there, definitely that government is they are having something plan or something intelligence input about it, then they might have moved this eviction orders. But at the same time, I think the Gymkhana Club has approached to the Honorable High Court.
Politicians from the opposition, Mr. Rao, say that this is some sort of an ego tussle. Something did not went their way, and this is why this is happening. Because when it comes to the security angle, this has been here for the longest time. I mean, there are institutions around the Gymkhana Club that have probably come after Gymkhana. Why suddenly this is a security problem?
Maybe because of some, I think some intelligence inputs might have been there, and then maybe some government plans to increase the security or to increase the defense infrastructure for the greater national interest. So far as the security of nation is concerned, I think that may be the reason. Otherwise, such an old club and which has been on the lease for more than 100 years. That abrupt action by the government, it really, I think it's shocking everyone. But maybe that the government must come out with the plan of that security angle.
Well, tomorrow there's going to be a hearing. Tomorrow there's going to be a hearing soon, and we'll get a better understanding of what is the exact rubric at play. General Rajinder Singh, many thanks for taking on the time, sir. So what is this? What are the main sticking points? And when the club is piloting this legal challenge, what do you think it's going to admit in the court tomorrow, let's say?
Firstly, I'm not aware as to what they are going to say in the court, but all I wish to say is that nobody is denying the right of the government to do whatever is possible for the national security and national defense. Nobody is denying that right. All we are saying is that what has happened all of a sudden, that in 12 days, that you give a 12 days notice asking a club which has been in existence for a long time and which has got one of the largest number of grass courts, tennis courts in not only in the country and probably second largest in the world and more than even Wimbledon. Now, with all these facilities, this sports club which has been hosting the Davis Cup tournaments a number of times, the last one being only just 3 years back, it actually beats logic that why should the concerned authority give only 13 days notice and say that we are re-entering. There are 2-3 points I wish to make regarding this club.
Fair enough. Yes, sir.
Club, firstly, it is owned by a company. That company's name is Delhi Gymkhana Club Limited. And this company is registered under the Companies Act. And it follows all the guidelines and the rules which have been laid down for the companies in the country. Now, this company had purchased this land at market value, at that time market value, the cost of which will be equivalent to whatever are the market values here today is concerned. At that time, a number of Maharajas had contributed money and they gave it to this club and they purchased this land from the government. Government did not give this land gratis to the Gymkhana Club. That is point number one. Point number two is that this club was made for providing sports facilities to the people, to the bureaucrats and to the armed forces, particularly armed forces and the bureaucrats, to them who are going to be posted here because Delhi mein the capital had just shifted. That is point number two. Point number three is that this club is a true reflection of unity in diversity. It has members of all classes, all castes. It has members of all spheres of activities. It has Supreme Court judges, High Court judges. It has advocates. It has large number of armed forces officers. It has got bureaucrats, cabinet secretaries,
General, my apologies for interjecting. I'm running out of time here, which is why I must butt in and ask you this question. My apologies yet again. You see, this is being converted into a binary of rich versus the poor, rich versus the have-nots. Do you think that is going to impact the sentiment across the national capital when it comes to Delhi Gymkhana? Because let's not make any bone about it. There are a lot of people that are waiting on the waiting list. And I mean, rightly so, because the list is so long, you have to wait. But then this is being converted into that binary of the haves and the have-nots. And that is not sitting well with the larger multitude who just see the gates and have probably just seen the outsides and never gone inside the club at all.
No, you're right. Firstly, this is not a club. Firstly, every club in this country is a matter of haves and have-nots. Every club, the people who frequent those clubs belong to certain section of societies which can afford certain this thing. As far as the elites here is concerned, firstly, let me tell you, an average army officer is not a rich man. He's a normal fellow. I'm not a rich man. I am born in a middle-class family. I have risen to whatever rank I have. But there are generals who are members. There are colonels who are members. There are majors who are members here. So basically, this elite thing can be really applied to every club in the country. So I won't say anything more on that.
Okay. And sir, what about the employees? There are so many people who depend on Gymkhana for the employment. What is going to happen if all of this is thrown into chaos? Very quickly, I need to go across to Mr. Rao as well. Sorry.
Yeah, there are 600 employees. I think something, it'll be a very sad thing if this club closes down like this. Now, whatever I have heard of the legal situation in this is that the government, even when it requires for defense and for security, national security, cannot take over a club by giving 12 days notice. It cannot. It's a rule of law. हमारे देश के अंदर कोई तुगलकी फरमान नहीं चलते हैं. हमारे देश के अंदर rule of law.
Absolutely, sir. Goes without saying. And sir, you're not poor at all. You're rich because of the political circles and the influential circles that you go across in. It's not about money all the time, General. It's also about the people you meet and the rich conversations you have. I've been to the Gymkhana Club a couple of times myself. It's a shocking news for me as well. I'm not even a member. But Mr. Rao, finally, critics are also saying that the government is acting abruptly. That's what the General here is also saying, that that the entire act has been done very abruptly. From the state's perspective, can security planning around the Prime Minister's zone afford prolonged negotiations? Talk to us about the operational ambiguity of it all before we wrap this up.
Kabir, definitely I agree with Lieutenant General Rajendra Singh ji, because it's a very abrupt action, and it will not succeed in the court because its short time is this short time on abolishing this huge club having so much of the assets and the employees of more than 6,000 employees working in this club. No doubt in that. But again, I said that if the defense and the security issue is there, that the government has to prove their case for that purpose. Only then it can succeed.
And the hands are tied. When you bring in the security of the Prime Minister, the hands are somewhat little bit tied, which is why the question is it curtains, Gymkhana? Well, we'll have to find out tomorrow when it actually goes to the court, because the government is invoking quote-unquote public purpose under clause 4 of the lease deed. But should this public purpose also require proportionality, rehabilitation, transparent justification? All of that comes into play as well. So let's hope.
Can I say just half a minute? You see, the clause 4 also says that you have to follow the procedure of law. It also says that you have to have a suit filed in the court. Clause 4 also says that you have to give compensation.
I'm sure, General, tomorrow Advocate Manu Singhvi will bring all of this in front of the Honorable Court, and we'll see. Delhi Gymkhana, many thanks, Mr. Rao. Many thanks, Lieutenant General, for speaking to us here on News 9. Delhi Gymkhana is no longer just a club under scrutiny. It has become a symbol of a larger transition in the national capital, a battle between heritage and hard power, between the elite legacy and the public purpose of Clause 4, and perhaps between the India that was and the India the state now wants to build. Many thanks for watching. That's a wrap on In Your Interest. We'll catch you again tomorrow.
मंडे आइएगा सब पेपर्स के साथ।
सारे पेपर्स हैं सर। होम लोन के लिए बार बार बैंक के चक्कर लगाने से कैसे बचूं?
It's not just about access. It's about health, dignity and equality. From classrooms to workplaces, why do periods still limit millions of girls?